Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal. First of all, before I get into the transfers, got to talk about the game yesterday. What a game. I'll tell you what. It's so stressful. I've only just about got over it. I mean, a last-minute penalty by Alexis Sanchez. How cool was he to bang that goal in right at the end? And the way he did it, I mean, reminiscent of what he did in the Copa America final for Chile. And what an extraordinary game. Premier League summed up, you know, team that you expect to win and beat very easily. Cruising along, an incident happens and all of a sudden it's a completely different game. Granit Xhaka, what was he doing to get himself sent off? But in the end, a massive 3 points. A massive 3 points for Arsenal. And listen, Chelsea are still way out in front, but we're still there. We're still knocking on the door, and that's all we can do at this stage of the season. Moved Arsenal up into second place, so that was great. And it was good to see Alexis with a big smile on his face at the end. You know, last couple of games he's gone off. He's been really grumpy, really angry, but he looked a lot happier. Rumours still around, though, you know, about Perisic as we get into our Alexis Watch. But at least today, there's not massive rumours, you know, sort of around Alexis because of the way in which the game turned out and for the fact that he was happy. There were even banners around the stadium with him and his dogs, you know, to try to help to persuade him to stay. And if you ever needed evidence to say that we got to give this guy basically what he wants, you saw it yesterday. I mean, have a look at my player ratings from yesterday and you'll see this guy is just integral to the team. He makes Arsenal tick. He is our go-to guy. When there's problems, give the ball to Alexis Sanchez. That's how good he is. We must hold on to him. And it's just, with every game, it becomes more evident. And with every game, you know that the big clubs around Europe are looking on it and thinking, well, you know what? Arsenal don't sign him up. Let's move. This guy's he's a world-class player. So we've got to get it done ASAP. Jack Wilshere is another worrying one. Now, I said this when Jack Wilshere went to Bournemouth. The thing that worried me was the fact that we sent him out on loan and we hadn't signed him up to a new deal. He's got 18 months left on his contract. And basically, if he stays there till the end of the season, 1 year left on his contract. And we know that that's the dangerous time when a player has 1 year, because basically, you know, after about 6 months of that, he can talk to any club he wants and he can walk away at the end of that for free. Zilch, nish, no money, right? So you lose completely the money. A lot of clubs end up cashing in because they don't want to end up losing the player for nothing. The player has all the power and they can walk. And that's the situation with Jack Wilshere. He's gone away on loan. He's doing brilliantly for Bournemouth. And Benicophobe, of course, who used to be at Arsenal, one of his best friends, who's also at Bournemouth. He was asked about Jack Wilshere's future, and these are his quotes. He said, "To be honest, I don't think even he knows what he's going to do. We have conversations all the time, and he just wants to play week in, week out, and see what happens at the end of the season." Now, I don't like that, because Bennick's not saying, he just wants to play week in, week out, play brilliantly and prove himself so that he can go straight back to Arsenal. He's saying that he'll see what happens at the end of the season. For me, again, this is another deal that this January, we should be tying down Jack Wilshere, I think, to a 4 or 5 year contract. This guy, you know, number one, he's come through the ranks at Arsenal. And number two, you know, he's a player that we really, you know, we could do with right now with his creativity and everything like that. I know he's had all the injuries, etc. But, you know, it's worrying because, you know, he'll have a lot of suitors come the end of the season and we still haven't tied him down to a new deal. And, you know, I think that Jack Wilshere can come back next season and be an integral part of Arsenal's team. Of course, I know we've taken up the option and we've got Santi Cazorla for another year. But if you've got Jack Wilshere in and more or less he's starting every week, and if there's any injury problems, you've got Santi who can come in, you know, that would be perfect. But it's looking like Jack Wilshere's looking at it and saying to himself, I want to play every single week. You heard what Benicophobe said there. He just wants to play every week. And he's going to want those guarantees from Arsenal. Are Arsenal going to be able to give him those sort of guarantees? that he'll start week in, week out. And that could be a major problem coming, our way when it comes to sorting out Jack Wilshere and whether Jack Wilshere will return to Arsenal. I mean, I really, really hope that he does. I see him as a future captain of the club, but I'm not liking how he's standing at the moment. Linked today as well with FC Porto's Danilo. Danilo, if you ever seen this guy play, he's a big, rangy defensive midfielder. But a defensive midfielder who can also, get the goals here and there. He's been a very good player, very well thought of player. Now, the Portuguese outlet, Ebola, claimed that Arsenal have had regular scouts watching him. He's got a release clause of £34.5 million, and they're claiming that Arsenal are really, really interested in signing him. And after what we've seen so far this season with Granit Xhaka and his discipline, could he be a replacement for Xhaka? I mean, listen, I don't think so. Listen, Arsenal have invested a lot of money in Granit Xhaka, and they'll see it that this is his first season, and they've got to get Xhaka right. They've got to work on his discipline. They've got to work on him to stop him from diving in, etc. And they'll say to themselves that, listen, Granit Xhaka will get better. It's his first season. And somebody pointed out yesterday, Patrick Vieira in his first season got sent off loads of times as well, and his discipline was terrible. But Arsenal, apparently linked to this guy, Danilo. I personally can't see it happening. £34.5 million. Another defensive midfielder. We've got El Neni, remember, who's out there on the African Cup of Nations. Coquelin, who came on yesterday. When you're at a game, right? I said yesterday in my preview, in my player ratings, how great a job he did. I didn't realise he gave away the penalty because I was right at the other end of the stadium. But you've got Coquelin there and you've got Granit Xhaka. Now, if you brought in a Danilo, one of those are going to have to go. I can't see Xhaka's not going to go because, Xhaka's, we've invested all this money in him. El Neni, we've only recently bought him as well. And Coquelin's just signed a new deal. So I just see that one as a no-go. But Ebola, over there in Portugal, claimed that it's something that Arsenal are looking at, and Arsenal got scouts looking at him. Arsenal got scouts looking at all the top players. Right, let's get into some of what you guys had to say. Naveen says Ricardo Rodriguez would be an absolute signing of the season, whoever gets him. He's the best attacking left back in the world. Not sure about that. He said, and so underrated. How nobody swooped to steal him after he's consistently providing such great goals and assists and stats for a fullback. I'm not sure if he's the best left back in the world. He's good. He's very good, but I think that's a bit over the top. Dead Meme says Perisic is an absolute baller. If we sign him, I'll be delighted. Now, he's a good player, but sign him in swapping with Alexis, no way. And, he's a good player, but not really what we need right now, to be honest. Ahmad says, trust me, Gibbs will get a better club than Arsenal. He is 10 times better than Sanya, and look how Sanya ended up. It's Arsenal's stupid sheep management problem that is turning our beloved club into a supermarket. Kieran Gibbs, of course, as I was saying yesterday, is one of those players that you just never know could be gone at the end of the season, because like Jack Wilshere, he's another guy who's going to want, first team football, regular first team football. And finally, Clark just says, Perisic for Sanchez. And I agree with him entirely. Perisic for Sanchez, are you having a laugh? Alexis Sanchez is an incredible player. We must keep hold of him. Thanks for watching the show, and we'll be back around about the same time tomorrow.